Here we go.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and our team that does that, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 fathers, dads, and male caregivers around the world since 2020. I also am a featured contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen YouTube channel, which has 580,000 subscribers. And the tagline for that channel is the place where Black women have a voice, and that's run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Never take that for granted. And also, in addition to that, I am a featured contributor to a new network called Indie Soup Media. It is a brand new independent content creators network that is run by my good associate, Dr. Tachi. And this is one of the shows that's on that network. So, as always, want to say thanks to Dr. Tatch on that. I'm just going to give you the link for that. There it is. indiesoupmedia.tv, broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and the Roku channel. So if you have Roku set up on your smart TV, you can see it there. Just punch in Indie Soup Media in your search, and you'll be able to find it. So we are broadcasting live on April 7th. Here in Toronto, it is a massively sunny day. Is spring here? Let's hope so. But we know who's here. Cesar Ndema-Moussa on Black Canada Talking. What's up, Cesar?
Hello, Dr. Vibe. Thank you for having me, as always.
My pleasure. My pleasure. What's going on in your world?
Well, it's also sunny over here in Ottawa, and hopefully we don't get a surprise winter storm. We know how the weather can be racist, if I dare to put it that way.
Forget it. I'm not even gonna. I'll let you fill those shoes.
It's a Pan-Africanist joke, you know. When for 6 months of the year you get that very northern, you know, very chilling cold that makes you feel how bad it is, and yet you have to remember 4 or 5 centuries ago about your ancestors. How was it for them? You know,
Absolutely.
so that it humbles us, and you know, if it's one of the things that make Canada great, thank you, but so no, we good.
But you know, when you say but, you negate everything you said before.
Okay. I know. But yes, no, honestly, we good. I'm working on some big things. Actually, hopefully tonight I finish a task that was given to me to create an educational PowerPoint video regarding the Pan-Africanist Black African contribution to human rights, which I've been working on all day. And further to that, it will be used for certificates, people applying for human rights certificates worldwide from Washington. And further to that, in a week time, I will be flying away with a lot of other Black Canadian civil society delegates to Geneva, Switzerland, for the United Nations, as we advocate, for Black people's rights, for Pan-Africanism, and for human rights and justice. So I will be bringing forth, like last year when I was in New York City at the headquarters. So I will be bringing forth a lot of the topics that we address here, notably, as we will talk about it in a few minutes on the show.
Okay, well, before we go any further, I just want to tell people, please follow the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. You can also follow me Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please feel free to reach out to me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Now, you have segued nicely. And you know what? Let me also say, if you want to get in touch with Cesar, email present@rootsandculturecanada.com, and also his his Facebook address is there. And I've also shared it on all the platforms that are watching this live or on the replay. You talked about United Nations. What do you want to talk about first, that or the female basketball? Because you segued nicely into that, and I don't know if you want to start with that or you want to do the female basketball.
Let's keep talking about United Nations.
Okay, let's
entertainment always at the end.
And you know what? Actually, too, I had Andrea Pierce on my platform a few weeks ago. So another champion for UNDPAD. So let's start off with the United Nations Decade for People of African Descent.
Well, basically what our brothers and sisters, but also allied for the cause of Black people worldwide have to understand is that 2024 officially marks the end for the decade of people of African descent, 2015 to 2024. Now, Canada under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has agreed to extend it by another 3 years. However, if we are to be truly honest, as we always are, the truth of the matter is we must ask ourselves, to what extent have issues for Black people truly progressed? Truly progressed when we cannot deny the challenges, the fights, the white lash against EDI, anti-Black racism, and other measures and educational programs regarding social justice. At the same time, when we look furthermore in terms of our communities, yes, COVID is over, but to what extent are Black communities truly better off than 10 years ago? Please do not get me wrong. I never play the victim card. I just call it what it is. I mean, I'm not in Toronto right now, but something tells me that Jane and Finch probably hasn't changed much better than 10 years ago, if it's not even worse.
Okay. Interesting update. It has changed, but it's changed gentrification wise.
And that's exactly what I mean. Gentrification is not for the improvement of Black communities themselves. Don't get me wrong. I will never look down on a brother or sister who is elevating, moving up, whatever the scale, having done better for themselves and their family. This is our story. That's great. But for the larger community at stake, just like I remind people, just because there was a Black president and you can name 2 or 3 Black billionaires does not change the reality for the average Black person, which is still regarding systemic racism and other types of violent oppression, notably economic. So that's for the communities. And when we look really at the height of the pyramid, geopolitics, what is the situation right now in regards to Black nations? I mean, we will talk in a bit regarding Haiti, Congo, so many countries I can name. What about Nigeria? What about even still Somalia? Don't get me wrong. In many of those countries, such as Somalia, of course, it's better than in the days of Black Hawk Down, but still. So we have to see that, and we also have to see such situations in light of the growing right-wing movements, notably in Europe, taking power. So yes, some may want to console themselves because, for example, and I give congratulations to him, Wales has, for the first time, a Black man at the head of the government.
Yes, I heard about that.
Mr. Van Gating. And if you even want to hear further, now, although he is not Black, he absolutely does not make it a secret that he was actually born in Africa and he has roots in Africa. That's the head of the Scottish government right now. So you see, the situation may be changing in terms of visibility and representation, but time and again, we must ask ourselves, what is really the changing reality for the common Black person? And I don't say this just because there is an increasing demographic rate. And I don't say this because indeed we do have talented Black people, professionals who are basically increasing in numbers. And I congratulate that. I notably give a shout out to Canada's Black medical students who, one of my mentees being a medical student, shared with me how just a few days ago. I think actually this week, as we're talking, they were having the big event. So congratulations to them. But again, my question is concerning the average Black person over here in Canada, on this side of the ocean, but also worldwide. Has the decade truly changed, truly improved? I must say no. And this is one of the reasons why, among the topics that we will address, such as recognition, addressing justice, socioeconomic, socioeconomic justice, reparations, one of the topics that will be addressed is about the renewal, or should I say, the continuation of the decade, which, of course, I totally support.
I know it isn't, we're not going to chat about directly, but I think indirectly, the whole situation with DEI, especially in the United States, is attached to this conversation. And Andrea Pierce, who I had on my Morning Vibe show, who's another proponent of UNDPAD, said that the U.S. didn't sign this declaration, which was very interesting. So
And
go ahead.
And if you don't mind me to add, if I can say, for those who may see it as a betrayal or stabbing in the back, let's be honest here. 2015, who was the president of the United States? There you go. So we must, I remind people, just as much as we like to celebrate 2008, President Barack Obama becoming the first Black POTUS, we must always hold him accountable as well in regards to his policies, behaviors, etc., for the advancement and the betterment of Black people. Obviously, he's president of the United States. He was not president of Black people. So everything and anything that America does is for its perceivable interest, usually short and midterm. But we have to also look at longer term. And for us as Black people, ultimately, on the four corners of the world, we must never forget, time and time again, it is not about creating a dependency or even expectations upon governments, no matter how friendly they may seem to us. It's about, time and again, us elevating ourselves as individuals and as communities in order to eventually create strong nations that are built upon strong communities and upon strong individuals/families.
Then what does Canada need to do in this area that would bring, because obviously you're not pleased with Canada's contributions to this. What does Canada, the government of Canada, and even the business world in Canada need to do?
It's not that I'm not pleased. So this is where it's not a disagreement. I understand my sisters and brothers will find themselves to be displeased by the Canadian government. I, however, am one of lowered expectations. Ultimately, the fruits of our labor are truly in uplifting our communities more than in successful funding/begging from government assistance. And as such, I said it. The fact that Prime Minister Trudeau back in 2018 agreed to the declaration, that was a big step forward. And acknowledgement is a big step forward. And I will also admit it. The Canadian government has given money into the development of Black communities. We have to be honest about that. They have given millions. The question becomes, however, to whom have they given millions? For what have they given millions? And what is the accountability in regards to the individuals, aka organizations, and the concrete result on the ground? Because there are organizations that get money but really don't do anything. They're just good at submitting a good funding paper. And this is very shameful that we still have a situation. And I'm not here preaching for my organization, North-South Development Roots and Culture Canada. If we don't have money, we don't have money. We keep working. We keep finding ways. We keep stretching. Because ultimately, there has to be dignity to having money. The last thing you want is not to be an organization that makes big promises but can't deliver, or that basically gets funding to deliver, and yet nobody knows you, or nobody knows you to be doing anything. So then how do you get that money? I don't want such things. So the Canadian government indeed has given money. has made the acknowledgement. This is not something that happened worldwide. So yes, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has done something. Let us dare to be honest. As more and more talks of elections grow in Canada, the leader of the opposition party, the Conservatives under Pierre Poilievre, they don't recognize systemic racism. And I say this even as there are Black conservatives. They don't recognize systemic racism. So if you can't recognize the reality of my existence, such as systemic racism for Blacks, anti-Semitism for Jews, Islamophobia for Muslims, homophobia for LGBTQ plus people, if you can't recognize that, how can you claim to care about my existence, to care about my rights, and to care about my advancement? If I can't call you Dr. Vibe, how can I ever recognize you as basically hosting a great show? And yet I will insist on not recognizing that you are Dr. Vibe. It's a disrespect in your face.
Then what do Black Canadians... Okay, let me roll back a bit. Do you feel there could be a better job of educating many African Canadians about the decade?
Yes, but, and this is where I will get controversial, we no longer live under the type of activism of the 50s and 60s and early 70s. We live under the age of integration. And as such, segregation and colonization being officially over, I say officially because unofficially it continues, but being officially over, we live officially under the age of integration. And as such, it is not enough to just educate Black people regarding the decade for people of African descent. It should be each and every one who are educated about it, in the same way as each and everyone knows about Johnny McDonald and Christopher Columbus, and that more and more organizations, willfully or not, are doing such things as indigenous land acknowledgement. And I push to do anti-Black racism statement. This education regarding the decade, this education regarding the decade has to be for everyone, so that basically everyone, not just Black people, but even whites, notably those who would be caring to become allies. Why allies? We are living in changing societies where we have more and more interracial couples. We have a growing number of mixed / biracial adults and children. We have white parents who are basically adopting Black children. They have to be educated. We have people who have friends. We need to have, kind of in the hope of Fred Hampton, our great leader, murdered by Chicago police at just the age of 21, under cover of the FBI, aka Black terrorism. But we need to bring people together, because it needs to be an action in solidarity. An action in solidarity such as what? Such as what was ultimately the success of the civil rights movement, such as what was ultimately the success of apartheid. Systemic racism, such as addressed regarding the people of African descent, will not end simply because Black people are conscientized. We must, absolutely, but it will never be enough, especially under an age of integration where so many Black people like to think they can disregard it, like to think they don't have to attend the protest, like to think they don't have to stand up at work against racism because it doesn't affect them directly. It will, sooner or later. But we need to embrace those who are not Blacks, who want to stand up for the cause, who want to be part of it. So educate everyone, yes.
Okay, good stuff. Cass Lou says economics is such a big piece of it. She also says, blessed Sunday. Michelle Baptiste, who is, I think, Cesar's #1 online fan, is with us as always. Before we go to break, then, Cesar, these organizations that receive money from the federal government, I see a lack of them taking part in the education and the development of the decade. Am I wrong in making that statement?
Absolutely not false. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. It is a taboo topic in the Black community, and I do not care. I will dare to address it. You are not wrong because, unfortunately, the very nature of what's called being funded by a government also means a reluctance to hold accountable and notably to truly analytically and in depth criticize that government. If you truly aim to elevate the minds of people, whatever the skin color, but notably Black people, upon the government, what ends up happening? You need to elevate in them critical consciousness, aka critical race consciousness, that notably becomes not only overlapped with race, but also with economics and identity. If you're getting funded by the government, to what extent are you going to be willing to criticize those who are feeding your hand? Especially if you solely depend on them. So yes, yes. We must support the fact that yes, some do get funded. That's good. I was just saying the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, no matter how much people want to criticize him, well, he has not particularly or necessarily been an enemy of Black peoples. We don't have to appreciate everything he has done or hasn't done, but we can be honest about that part. Okay, but at the same time, those who do get funding also are to be held accountable. I'm not saying this in terms of do as I would do, but as you ask the question, to what extent are they educating our people regarding Black identity, Black pride, regarding human rights education, regarding addressing critical topics of Blackness, instead of just putting up a nice piece of paper to succeed in getting funding? And at the same time, I'm saying this, it's important to remember, just as it was under COVID and the government giving loans, the accountability sometimes with funding may be that either you have to return money or either is a further checking that you may be discounted, because too often we have seen Black organizations get money from the government and eventually become discredited because of the handling of the money, become discredited because of internal conflicts, become discredited because time and again there is an ongoing stereotype. But let's be careful. Sometimes underneath a stereotype there are elements of truth. Wasting the money that is given for a specific purpose, for a project, for a community. Some people want to eat off the community. I call them community pimps. They pimp the community for their own growth. I absolutely oppose that.
All right. We got a question before we go to break. Cass Luke says, how do you think the evolution of technology and AI will contribute or take away from the advancement of the community and various systems? Good question.
That is an excellent question. That is a vast question. Now, I'm not running away from the question because I address technology and AI more and more in my conferences and notably training. So let me put it to you like this. We are a Black community, as I've seen as an educator, notably in universities, colleges, and high schools, that are greatly in disfavor when it comes to such things as reading and writing, analytical understanding, and furthermore, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So while it may seem, having said that, that technology and AI will have less impact on the Black community, it's actually quite the opposite. It will hurt us furthermore because we are the less prepared to be in position of being advantaged by the advances of it. Our community, and this is something I denounce so much, is overrun by the values of entertainment, by the values of consumerism. We are not producers, nor are we the ones in control of the market that we are supposed to dominate. We will talk about the NBA. How many Black owners? Talk about the popular music genres, and we can celebrate that Beyonce is bringing back Blackness into country music. But whether we look at rap music and other genres of music, who truly are the bosses? I'm not talking about the entertainers who are rich and famous that we can name. I'm talking the real bosses of the game. It is not us, truthfully. So when you add technology and AI, when you add the fact that we're in 2024, when you add the economic uh, conflict that's happening between China and the USA, which actually is the West versus, one would say, the non-West part of the world, where are our Black nations and Black communities positioned to make sure that we catch up because we are so far lagging behind and investing into our youth? A story that I like to remind people is that when the artist known as Prince died, it was discovered that he was secretly funding for Black youth and I think Latino youth to learn coding. There is a fundamental problem when in our communities, even to today, some of our most rich and famous must hide to support the cause. We must not hide, we must speak true. We must be Black and proud. We must be able to support our own because technology and artificial intelligence are major game changers. It is only starting. It is only starting. And we are too often when it matters, we are last in the race.
All right. Cass Lou goes, wow. Okay. Are you saying wow on how this is Cesar? This is him. This is the real deal. He don't play. He doesn't hold
Well,
back.
look, I don't want to come off just sounding negative. I'll give you an example here. Rwanda under president slash dictator, because he is a dictator, he's a president, but he's a dictator. Paul Kagame is at the forefront of basically investing into African technologies and bringing Rwanda and by extent Africa into the 21st century to truly speak. But at the same time, the desire to make Rwanda the Hong Kong or the Dubai of Africa must be addressed in regards to the Rwanda government policies towards its neighbor Congo, such as stealing minerals, helping to create instability. But at the same time, Rwanda can do it by itself when you have a giant of Africa like Nigeria sitting on clay legs. When you have a giant of Africa like South Africa being praised for supporting Palestine, and yet the country is so insecure. There's a serious economic depression going on. And who is it affecting most in all? It's Black people, not the white South Africans. So these are the realities that we have to deal with. So when we see such things as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger pushing away France and now pushing away the United States, creating a confederation to basically take control of the raw minerals, well, sure, that's great. But we have to push on, go further than that, think further and aim for a true independence. But a true independence such as, what are the chips, the microcomputer, most people don't know about this. There is a technology that will come. I'm going to say it now. I don't even know if I should say it's a taboo topic. Nanotechnology will come. Africa and Black nations are nowhere in the conversation. Nowhere.
Supercomputers, big time, big time. All right. And Kasu says, thus he changed his name to a symbol. Exactly. So, right, we're going to take a quick break. Lots of fire going on as usual. Cesar is bringing the fire, bringing the heat. And Kasu says, yes, true. Reality must be aware and educated. Well said. Well said. So we're going to take a quick little break and come back. And after our break, we're going to talk a little bit of women's basketball. I know people want to say, but there is a racial element as part of it that Cesar wants to chat about. So keep it locked. We'll be back on Black Canada Talking in 2 minutes.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harry Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harry Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us. The diversity. Like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
really
Vibe
should.
he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy.
Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. We are back on Black Canada Talking with Cesar and just doing a lot of good conversation pieces always. If you want to contact Cesar, president at rootsandculturecanada.com, and there is his Facebook address, and wherever you're watching this, in the comment section, that contact information is there. Let's see if we got any other. Yes, Dion Lee Way, WNBA. So you're reading our alleged minds. So for those who may not pay attention a lot to sports, especially North American sports, over the last few weeks, there is nothing but noise about ladies NCAA basketball, and especially a lady named Caitlin Clark. Quite a great basketball player. Respect. And she's been making noise. I told Cesar just before we came on, her team, the Iowa Hawkeyes, lost in the finals to South Carolina, but most of the noise was made about Caitlin Clark and also the ratings that she brought to a lot of the broadcasts. So Cesar, what do you want to chat about Caitlin Clark and women's basketball?
I'm going to make a lot of people upset, but I'm not a good liar. I want to thank
you don't do that. You don't do that. Go ahead.
No, I don't. It was the first time that I watched WNBA for more than 2 or 3 minutes. I'm glad I did. But when I say I'm glad I did, I would truly say it's not just because of the hype regarding Caitlin Clark. I have to say Caitlin Clark and honor our sister Angel Reese. And I really mean that because it's that confrontation that notably drove the hype. Absolutely, yes. Caitlin Clark, great player, great shooter. Absolutely. Her 3 points, she is the female Steph Curry, if we can put it that way. But no, she's not the female Steph Curry. She is Caitlin Clark. Congratulations to her. But very much also because of Angel Reese. Thank you so much, Dr. Vi, for adding Sister Angel Reese. So, yes, there are racial elements here. First of all, it's a win for WNBA. WNBA in terms of female basketball, but NCAA women's basketball. As a girl dad, you have to understand that I will support anything that helps to the improvement, the advancement of women's lives, and notably opportunities. My daughter is tall. My wife is taller than me, so we have a potential of a child, a female child, who will be over 6 feet tall. Something about 95% percentile. Don't ask me anything more. I'm just repeating what the doctor said. But that said, it must be said. How can I put it? I'm disappointed at one of our brothers, Ice Cube. I am disappointed at him. I'm disappointed that brother Ice Cube, great rapper by the way, and arguably the first black person to survive a horror film, aka Anaconda, he didn't get killed. So yes, we love brother Ice Cube, but I'm disappointed. He seized on the opportunity to offer $5 million for Caitlin Clark to come play in his 3-on-3 league. I'm sorry. Did Caitlin Clark suffer any type of marginalization to get to where she's at compared to so many talented black female players? That $5 million that's offered as a big, financial and media opportunity to this white female player, and of course, not a fault at all. Like, there's no blame on her being white and being a female. That is not my point. But that opportunity given to her, how many of our sisters who are also talented wouldn't benefit of it? And it would change, truly, it would turn into intergenerational wealth. Furthermore, how is it that, because you see, I'm going to take you to where I'm going. This is the same story that keeps repeating all the time in black entertainment, aka who made Eminem famous? Who made Justin Bieber famous? You see what I mean? We like to invest into those white talents that don't need us, that don't need our investment. They don't need our investment. I'm not hating as some people may say it or may think of it. How can I be hating? It's the first time I actually watched more than 5 minutes of women's basketball. I have my step uncle, my uncle's wife, Uncle Billy. He's a great fan of women's basketball. He always told me, Cesar, you got to give the ladies a chance. And, now you're a girl dad and this and that. And I'm like, Uncle Billy, I'll try. But trust me, it's hard for me. It's not the same speed. It's not the same skills. It's like, where are the dunks? Where is this? Where's that? Hey, it's a little bit of misogyny on me. Let me call myself out here. I support the ladies. Congratulations. I will be watching more of that WNBA, just as I want to be able to support also the PWHL, Professional Women's Hockey League. Yeah. And I want to give myself a chance again to support women's soccer, because back in 2014 when I tried, it was painful. But I know they have improved. So I want to support, like I say, anything female oriented and anything notably in terms of female sports. But that said, brother Ice Cube, man, we're in 2024 and we repeat the same mistakes again. The same mistakes, because it's not enough to support non-black/white athletes who don't need our support. But when comes the time to walk in the protest, to take risk about losing your job for standing up for the black cause, where are those same white artists that we supported? Where's Jennifer Lopez in the black protest walk?
Well, it's interesting bringing up that
Jenny from No Block. Yeah, Jenny from No Block. How many people know it's thanks to black people? At least Jim Carrey, he owes a great part of his success to the fact that he was supported by the Wayans brother. Where's Jennifer Lopez from the so-called block? Where's Justin Bieber?
Well, it's
Where's
interesting.
Eminem?
I'm just going to add on. So Fitness IQ Cam says, evening, gentlemen. Good evening.
Brother.
Yeah, no, it's late. It's a lady. It's a lady.
Oh, my apologies.
No problem.
Evening, sister.
Otherwise known as EYLKS RWFQKOK. And also yes, Caitlin Clark doing what it says. Angel Reese, yes. And Fitness IQ Cam says you have a point. Absolutely. And Dion Way says, yeah, and Ice Cube is a well-educated fellow too.
He is. I know that.
And well, even in the last election, he was trying to get accountability for reparations and all this sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it from that angle.
And that's why I said disappointed. I'm not angry, but I'm just disappointed, because why is it that has to be he's taken to that game? She deserves every opportunity thanks to her talent. But you cannot, as a black leader, notably in entertainment, make such a move on a white, talented as she is, athlete/person who more than likely didn't grow up with the marginalization as other sisters such as Angel
No,
Reese
she
have
didn't.
faced.
No, she
And
didn't.
and I'm saying this by adding my support to Sister in regard to all the discrimination, the racism, the death threats, and sexual intents of assault against a person. Where is her big paycheck opportunity that can transform into intergenerational?
It would be really interesting to ask Ice Cube, how come you didn't offer anything to Angel Reese?
Oh, as far as we know, but it's what was offered to Caitlin Clark that made it to the media. That says something.
But that looks like a pure business decision, but not thinking about the wide-ranging implications.
It just bothers me because, like I said, Jennifer Lopez, Justin Bieber, Eminem, and I mean Eminem did admit and apologize using the N word and making a racist diss track. But why are we taking that person? Look, I do have a favorite white rapper. He's actually from Quebec, Manu Militari. Like people are always so surprised when I say this, but yes. So it's not that I don't like Eminem as a person. I don't know him as a person. I don't wish him anything bad. Absolutely not. But I don't like his rap music, but I especially don't like the fact that he did insult black women. I don't care if he was his ex, racial insult, but I particularly don't like that time and again our black leaders in entertainment find nothing better to do than to find the next white hope, put them on a pedestal. Meanwhile, there's countless of black talents that are there that could have done as well or could have done even more. Can you imagine if Diana Ross had preferred to take under her wing, some white artist who looks like he could be in the ABBA band? And I mean, I love ABBA, surprise for most people. I love ABBA, but please, Diana Ross looked at Michael Jackson and gave him a chance. She's not responsible for the fact that he decided to bleach his skin, just as he's not responsible for the fact that most of Diana Ross' descendants today are white. But still, at the key moment, she recognized a black talent. She offered her help. So this is kind of what bothers me. Also because Angel Reese has been going through abuse, racial abuse, and even online I see this. I'm enjoying replying back to some of these white MAGA lovers, undercover racists who are taking the opportunity, kind of like the Caitlin Clark, the white girl defeated all these black girls. But I didn't get the impression that Caitlin Clark is on a racial fight. I didn't get the impression that Angel Reese is, feeling like, she failed the black community. No, so at least, and I'm happy for both of them. But the bigger conversation, we must dare to have it. And part of it is, let's make sure that we give the full opportunities to our sisters whose families truly depend on it, whose communities depend on it. If you're able to give $5 million to a white athlete who truly doesn't need it, she has a path paved for her.
She's got endorsements like crazy now and coming in the world. Like the only thing that was missing is she would have won a championship. Oh my goodness, that would have been. But you know what? She's already won. She's already won.
She changed women's basketball forever.
Yeah.
So that $5 million, there's a black community that actually need it.
Yeah, Dylan Way says it's like chasing a laser point, how they control the industry. And says both Caitlin and Angel just playing. They don't want any of this attention. They're just playing they're just playing a game. Simple as that. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm glad you brought the Eminem example, because I remember I was reading a few weeks ago who was a gentleman, Dr. Dre, was claiming that Eminem was the greatest rapper of all time. I went, really?
I want to hear whites who are experts in classical music say Joseph Boulogne, aka Chevalier de Saint-Georges, is the greatest musical composer of all time. That will never happen. They will never put a black person ahead of Mozart and Beethoven. And please, let me be correct here. It also would be wrong to claim so. I think the musical genius of Mozart and Beethoven surpasses that of our brother, Chevalier de Boulogne. But still, These are the type of things that Black people will say and will do. I mean, how do you have a Black musical genre and you're going to claim someone, he could be white, he could be any color, could be the greatest at that genre, when he himself clearly said that a big part of his success is simply because he has a white demographics to support him, just as Elvis back then. And at the same time, his content was about insulting and attacking his mother. Is that a Black artist?
I'll add just one more thing before we move on to our last conversation topic. Dylan Way says Rakim would have something to say about the best. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But have you heard about the right wing pushback about is she a Black French descent lady singing for the Olympics? Have you heard that?
Of course, 100%. Aya Nakamura, look. As I shared on my Facebook, I'm not a fan of her music. I'm not a fan of her style. And I've criticized notably Afro-feminists, so Black feminists of France, who love to trash brothers for having children with white women. And yet Aya Nakamura has 2 children by 2 different white men. Yet they don't dare to say anything. So it has nothing to do with me being a fan or not. One would have to be a hypocrite not to notice that indeed she is a victim of racism. And as such, on that field, she has my total support. I don't have to like her music genre. I just have to recognize that just as George Floyd, in terms of what has been said about him when he was alive, George Floyd would not have been in my friend circle. But in the way that he was killed, in his death, in that tragedy, he's my brother and I stand by his side. It's the same thing here with Aya Nakamura, who is a victim of racism. Now, please, as I'm saying this, let me not be a hypocrite. There's a certain Black woman who got fired from a right-wing conservative media platform, Candace Owens. Those who have good hearing have noticed that I did say Candace Owens. I don't stand in solidarity for her. The hypocrisy on her is too great. The other Black people that we named were not being hypocrites. I can dislike them, but they're not hypocrites. They're living their life. They're being talented at what they do. They're just trying to succeed. They're not spitting on Black pride. They're not betraying the Black cause for some money and attention from the same right-wing, racist, white supremacists who eventually ditch them, as happened to Candace Owens. So Aya Nakamura, something very important to understand, she is the #1 French and Francophone celebrity online. The most streams. She is a phenomenon. And as such, the French President Macron offering for her to sing a song from Edith Piaf, aka the model of female French. But Dr. Vibe, that's a hypocrisy. Edith Piaf was disliked by the French when she was alive. Most French did not like her. First of all, she's born in poverty, and second, she not only she born in poverty, but she led a life of divorces, infidelities. You know, we're talking about the a woman born in 1915, so she was an adult in the 40s and 50s. My God, in the 40s, she sympathized with the Nazis, and yet her grandmother, Edith Piaf, her grandmother is African from Morocco. So she was not exactly loved as they're painting it today, and as such, how could this dark-skinned West African Aya Nakamura represent France and sing for the Olympic Games? No, that's a big hypocrisy. If she sings good, which I really hope she does, right? That's good. That's good for France. It's good for the games. That's it. That's all it is. So Aya Nakamura has my solidarity. Candace Owens doesn't have it.
All right. I see Fitness IQ wants to cause trouble on Kanye West And he goes, LOL, just want to stir the pot.
I am very well known as not being a fan of Kanye West. None of his
Yes.
music, none of his personality. He's absolutely not a genius. He's basically, and as you see the images regarding his white Italian wife, the brother does anything and everything to basically create controversy and, have the paparazzi basically talk about him like, no.
Oh,
The things he said regarding slavery and black women, I am sorry, you do not have my solidarity until you officially apologize. Just like Kundes, same bucket.
all right. Let's move to our last conversation piece. And we're broadcasting live on Sunday, April 7th, 2024. It is 6 months to the day that Israel invaded the Gaza Strip. But Cesar wants asked, what about Haiti and Congo? Cesar?
Thank you so much for bringing that conversation because, first and foremost, allow me, I don't like the expression thoughts and prayers, but my solidarity to the volunteers of that organization. I think it's called World Kitchen Central, if I'm correct, whose volunteers got murdered by the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces. But at the same time, as I give my solidarity and hope for the quick end of this conflict, for the over 30,000 Palestinians who have been killed, also a thought to those who are Israeli, Jewish, and others who have been kidnapped and are still hostages. Yes, we are talking about them. It is important to talk about them. But as a Pan-Africanist, my first thought, my first actions must be towards our people. And as such, what about Haiti and Congo? For those who are unaware, there's been an ongoing genocide in eastern Congo that has claimed it is estimated over 10 million people since 1997. How much coverage have you seen regarding Congo? Congo where so many of the raw minerals are taken by theft, by force, by exploitation, by corruption, notably for our phones. My personal phone, my work phone. I am guilty as well. We are all part of this. This is not some finger pointing at white people, the USA, France, whatever. No. This is a world tragedy to which we are all accomplices to. At the same time, what about Haiti? What about the situation of unrest, violence, destabilization that's been going on in Haiti since 2021 when there was an earthquake, but especially former President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated, gang warfare and all that, and talks about the police forces of Kenya going there to bring order. And yet, even in Kenya, cases of police brutality. So for those who love to think people like Cesar, the black activists, are on an anti-white mission, notably when they address police brutality, absolutely not. There's police brutality plenty in African and Caribbean countries, such as in Kenya. So what about Haiti and Congo as Israel and Palestine 6 months later still get so much of that publicity, media attention, thoughts and prayers, emotions of people, fundraising? What about Haiti and Congo? But when I say what about Haiti and Congo, as I remind our Black people, it is not about the well wishes of Western governments to uplift our countries. It's about our own countries. I've seen far too many Black people online as on the street activate themselves for Israel and Palestine just as for Ukraine and Russia. When it comes to Haiti and Congo, you don't see them. They don't care. It's not popular. And it's not a simple matter of thinking, because yes, it does happen sometimes, but it's not a simple matter of thinking that they might be in an interracial couple, or they have the white friends, or they don't want to come off woke to the circles. Wow. What about Haiti and Congo? Because it's not Haiti and Congo per se. What about people who look like you? Because in those other countries that I named, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, and Russia, anti-Black racism is alive. And yet you're going to care so much more about their cause than the cause of people who look like you. So this is the appeal that I'm doing for Haiti and Congo, but also for any Black nation, Black country in Africa, in the Caribbean, worldwide. And, I will add another country that most people have never heard about. Papua New Guinea, West Papua. West Papua, since the 70s, Indonesia has been committing what some call a genocide for raw materials and land that are benefiting Western nations. And those people over there, they're indigenous Black peoples. They look like us. How many people are aware of what's going on over there in West Papua? PAPUA, West Papua. How many people are aware? It's a crisis of Black consciousness. It's a crisis of Black activism, of society in the age of integration. It's so much easier to stand with your people when there's segregation and colonization, because the lines are not blurred. You know on which side of the fence to stay, because you can't really stay on the other side. You wouldn't even be allowed at a protest for the white cause under colonization and segregation. You wouldn't even be allowed in the protest. But under integration, you have the privilege, because it is a privilege. You have the privilege to not care about the Black cause, but at what cost? At what cost for us? At what cost for humanity? At what cost as others will look like us, look at us behaving? And I say this criticizing our own people as well. From those countries, as I am from France, far too many Congolese don't care about the situation of their own country. So why is it that other Black people should care? They put the time for looking good, for going out, for being entertained, for supporting their artists, chasing after women and men. They don't care about the state of the country. They feel it's hopeless. So why is it that other Black people should care? It's also true about Haiti, especially if they don't have family over there. Why do they care? Why should they care when they're living large? They're living well in USA, in Canada, in France. What happens if there's a change of regime and suddenly there's a racist, fascist regime that decides to kick out all those people, notably from Haiti, in the US? Someone like Trump could decide that. One would be surprised. You have a situation in Congo, a right-wing regime in France could decide to kick out a lot of Africans. Where are you going to go to? What do you have over there? What are you helping to build over there? What connections you have over there? Some people may feel like I'm talking in the wind, but don't get it twisted. As we are here in Canada, most Lebanese still have connections back in Lebanon, and they make sure that they have that Canadian citizenship, that when they go to Lebanon and things get too hot, they can come back here, but they have a place to go back to. Just as you have so many, notably Jewish people, they have a place to go back to if things get heated here. Just as we have so many Chinese people and Indian people, Koreans, they keep connections to where they come from. They keep caring about where they come from. They keep being involved in the community regarding where they come from. And they show support to those who look like them. So this is what I'm saying. So yes, Israel and Palestine, honestly, I hate to say thoughts and prayers. So my solidarity, as I always said, I'm pro-peace, I'm pro-truth, I'm pro-human rights, but first and foremost, I'm pro-Black. So what about Haiti and Congo? What about West Papua?
Great. Great way to end off the conversation today, Cesar. Really good as always. You're just bringing the thought process to everything today. I want to say, as always, thank you for taking the time to share with us. As always, we appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. Your number one fan says, Michelle Baptiste says, peace. Yes, peace. If anyone wants to get in contact with Cesar, again, email address president@rootsandculturecanada.com. There's this Facebook link again. It's in the comment section on all the platforms. What's coming up with you, Cesar? Anything we should be keeping the eye on?
Well, hopefully, hopefully, I will finish tonight my educational PowerPoint regarding human rights for the international certification in Washington, bringing a Pan-Africanist lens, a Black lens, because too often people think human rights began with the Magna Carta or the Bible. Well, guess what? It began earlier than that, and it began in Africa. At the same time, next Sunday, as we are speaking, well, pretty much at this time, 6:15 p.m., I will be on a plane on my way to Geneva for the third permanent forum for the people of African descent of the United Nations to address issues of anti-Black racism, systemic racism, but also reparations and recognition. So last year, I had the honor of being in New York City at the headquarters. This time we will be at the European headquarters with other Black civil society delegates. My salutations to the CEO of Roots and Culture Canada, Mrs. Ketia Peters, but also some of our friends, some of our allies, such as Richard Sharp, such as Robin Brown, Floydine Charles, Al Jones, so many names I can give of great people from here in Canada, but also worldwide. Brazil, beautiful delegation that they bring, USA, France, etc., etc. England, Norway, yes, Black delegations, delegations with allies to the Black cause coming to advance the issues in question. So, yes.
Fantastic. And how long are you there for?
I will be there myself, landing Monday morning and leaving Friday night to go make a stop in Paris to visit my baby sister and meet my new niece.
Yes. Wonderful. So looking forward, well, blessings on the trip. Hope it goes well. And there's a whole pile of people there I have not seen in a long time. If you have a second, do tell them I said say hello. Especially wonderful Elle Jones, especially have not spoken with her in a long time. So definitely that. And looking forward when you come back to share with us some of the experiences you had there. But as always, most importantly to you and your family, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourselves grace and have a great trip.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vibe. Thank you always for your support. Thank you to everyone for the support. We are in this together, and yes, we can. We shall overcome by any means necessary, but best by peace and ongoing efforts. Yes.
All right. And just before you leave, Dion Leeway says, thank you, Dr. Vibe and guest. Cass Lou, clap emojis. And of course, last but not least, Michelle Baptiste clapped. So have a great trip, my brother. Keep well. All right, everybody, another epic conversation today. Wow. So Cesar is on his way to Geneva. What? And then Paris on the way back. So that is fantastic. All right, let's do some housework before we get out of here. You can watch replays of Black Canada Talking on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also my website, the drvibeshow.com. Also, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And as always, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. This is how we close it out. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. God bless, peace, well, keep the faith, and walk good.